so little alive here. Let's pocket that. He says that's enough to get the Mekton functional. You'll have an engine, a fuel soaker, a gun and a gathering net, but no armor, nor enough oxygen supply. Something he devised to salvage valuables from the ground. There are usually spots hidden beneath puddles of oily goo where you can use the net. He's been working on another project for the Mekton, a cannon, but it needs ammunition, and by that he means the scripts. He says if they're trained right, they'll turn into a distraction for the jumbo puff. The best way to find scripts is to go talk to Moog. He knows the ins and outs of every breathing thing left alive after the apocalypse. Unfortunately, this means you'll have to venture farther out into the dead zone than Moog's camp on the steep depot. Once you find Moog, he'll be able to give you directions to where you'll find scripts. Gizmo thinks he's a little peculiar, but very knowledgeable. He has the ins and outs of all monster and creature whereabouts. The grease monkey's Mekton is built sturdy, just like himself. Can you imagine how this place used to look before the dead oil flood? Might want to hold your breath before you head any further. You're about to witness the breathtaking vistas of what's known as the Dead Zone. That over there is Steepo Depot, the cliffside that Moog hangs on to. clamber right up. Let's see. This one's impressed to see you out here. He figured you'd be dead by now. Not many are as tough and clever as you must be. Says a monster hunter hears many things on the wind. Moog says that all your power doesn't do you a bit of good if you're not willing to pull the trigger when the time comes. Out there with the monsters, it's kill or be killed. Which will it be for you? You might have a steady aim, but you need to be sure that you pick your targets with care. It's hard to make those life or death decisions for others, but someone's got to do it. Otherwise, they'll do it themselves, and you know they'll miss. When it comes to monsters, he mostly picks who dies. Says it's wild that the world seems to be coming back, but he supposes that means more monsters for him to shoot. Gets why you're thinning the herd so hard, but he wishes you'd leave some monsters for everybody else. Says you should give up on working with the stubborn myriad. He keeps trying to put out their lights, and they keep putting up new ones. Says they keep the monsters away. He needs them closer, not farther. But enough of that, right? He says the wildlife, nature, has changed and turned against us. Instincts of survival took over when the world changed. He's not sure about their veggie diet anymore, and if it's changed, who knows what it's done with the chemical composition of their body output. Right now, though, he feels he's come to a point where he's got a pretty clear idea on the whereabouts of monsters, both tall and short. Says as big as they are, the world is bigger. To find where they are, you need to see where they've been. Moog says you must learn to walk before you can run. It takes practice before you can call yourself a monster hunter. Fortunately for you, he can help. He understands you need to start off with something small before you go big. There's no better place to start than a squip cave. Hunting down a couple of these little critters for yourself should keep you on your toes. Says you stick to the hunting and shots present themselves later. It's harder for others to see you in the dark. Wait, It's the script hole-up. Place is just filled with critters. If a story is about you, care for it. That's shut and good. Oh, idea. Go knock the lid off that sludge truck. It'll fill the place up and you can get up to that entrance there. That's a good find. Looks like the switches need to be turned to match so enough charge can flow through the conductors. Good. That's enough electric current to initiate the actuators and activate the framework. There's something special about that blade. A double-edged sword. You're the scrap monster now. Imagine that. You could just go to a place like this to get a proper meal back in the old world. Ooh. Put one robot foot in front of the other. Making your Mekton shine. A story has got to keep moving forward. He says that's enough scripts to sustain the Mekton's claw crane cannon with infinite ammunition. Well done. That's the special weapon he made to store the scripts in the Mekton. It will be strong enough to launch them at the Jumbo Puff. Gizmo's made vehicles before to confront the Jumbo Puff himself, but failed. But this time, it's different. The Mekton will be strong enough to do the job. It's time to put a stop to the World Eater now, otherwise he fears the damage it's caused to the tree already will be too much to handle. There's time to improve the Mekton before you confront the Puff. There are more wreck boxes out in the dead zone with gear you should be able to equip the Mekton with on your own. He got the idea to build the Mekton when he found a big crate containing the metal frame for something Toxanol had named an exoskeleton. Gizmo wants to help if he can. You need to help Gizmo defeat the Jumbo Puff before it destroys the West Route. Says there's an interesting place nearby that no one knows about, but doesn't really want to talk about it right now. Worries about your real intentions. Says you should take it easy. Gizmo wants to help if he can. Says you should take it easy. Your destiny waits on the path you'll take to avoid it. It's Peekaboo Park. Young ones love this sort of place. The salt feels crusty on your skin. That there's Subnautica Station. Goop flounders around in there. Let's see. Says it's good to see you again. He's Goop. You might remember him from the old days when he tried to teach you how to swim. Goop says you were always so righteous as a child, and he can still feel it, even at a distance. Goop says memories fade surprisingly fast. We are all pieces of what we remember. It's only together we can remember the story as it was. He knows he's easy to remember. There's no one out there as cuckoo as him. He's one of a kind. He understands you've returned to face Lupa Lupin. That's the destiny you've been carrying within yourself all these years. He says that the catastrophe back then didn't vanquish the good in you. It's still there, as bright as when you were a child. Now the time has come for you to remember and act. Your life is your life, not the story you're told about it. He understands why you seek revenge, but he doesn't think you realize how that'll make you feel once you claimed it.
See? On my side. Go, dark, go!
Only the dark speaks in absolutes. Well, not only.
Oh, get snuffed, light.
Let the light shine!
Light eventually burns out. Just saying.
Can hardly believe the world is going to make it. Wonders what that's going to do to the goo. Wishes you hadn't done so much to make the goo even gooier. Thinks the Myriad made a good match with you. You're both like sunshine on the surf. But hey, back to the goo. Knows yesterday is already gone. It's what you do today and tomorrow that'll move you forward. You need to set the past aside, at least for now. He can't leave the Subnautica Station, as the pollution has worn down the insulation of his suit. So you must salvage enough scrap to fix up his goo glide, starting with the old wreck box outside. You should return when you've retrieved the scrap. There's no time to waste if you want to make the goo glide strong enough to fight the Porky Puff. Out of Date told him the undersurf was the epicenter of the contamination. This was where it struck hardest and inflicted the biggest change to the ecosystem. Daytime is a good time to be outside. Don't overstep. Great shot. If the rain gets any worse, you could dissolve. Made it count. You need to line up the switches so they match. Good. That's enough electric current to initiate the actuators and activate the framework. This won't be a field trip. It's the real thing. He's got the goo glide functional. You'll have a pull hook and a salvage net, but no armor and an... There are lots of valuables left behind on the surf floor that the salvage net will enable you to haul. You just need to find the right spots. Goop says Gizmo's devised a cannon for the goo glide, but instead of bullets, it flips quacks, squeaky distractions for the triple attentive porky puff, which will give you time to get yourself in position. The best way to find quacks is to talk to Gulp. He has the bearings of the surfipelago and knows where the quacks like to float. This means you'll have the privilege of visiting Gulp in the Sinky Dink. He'll be able to give you directions to where you'll find quacks. That's where he bobs. Gulp refuses to move from that barge, despite the fact it makes him berth. Goop's not sure, though, if it's the surf sickness or the radium syrup that causes it. This might be the end of everything as we know it. The best way to glide the goo. Welcome to the Surfipelago, where the horizon rests on the surfy goo. This story is as powerful as you'll let it be. Tread soft. That's a monster nest, if ever I've seen one. Running low. That's a resource totem, a monument left behind by those that picked scrap, trying to keep the area clean. There's something there. Skronkers. The dark time's finishing for now. Sometimes your mind creates an illusion where it's possible to go back in time to relive a moment in your life. We all have things in our past we wish hadn't happened, and can come to remember seeing and doing things that never happened. However, there's no doubt that what you remember makes your future different. Choose the automaton functionality you want to recall. You weren't supposed to know how to start the automaton pew-pew pang, but clearly you figured that out way back then. That's not too bad. Better get a move on if you want to change things. Stick in the key. That's a little too much for you yet. There's a serenity about this spot. It's a place for rest and recovery.
Pigeon.
Wants to know why you haven't broken the world yet, because it was pretty busted up to start with.
Lemakul. Pigeon.
Understands completely. This thing purrs like an aqua cat. This here is the Sinky Dink, home of Gulp, at the very least.
Ja.
He's pretty sure he's heard of you before, although the details are maybe a little hazy. He wonders if you have something for him to drink. Points out that he's hungry too, but always thirsty for more. Says you look like you've got a powerful thirst to do something in this world. Good, bad, not really sure, but it seems like you've been drinking in your destiny and liking the flavor. Wants to know if he could point you towards something fun to drink, so that you could share with the tipsy tipster. You sure look like you could use a drink. Either way, he hopes you find a way to wet your whistle before the world comes to an awful dry end and leaves us all thirsting for more. Says life's like a mystery drink. Sometimes it's amazing, and sometimes it's awful. But either way, you can't stop drinking till you're dead. Sure, that's the point. But you can't stop trying new ones, or life gets dull. Wants to raise a glass to you getting the world fixed up a bit. Respects how you take care of yourself first instead of trying to swallow too much. Sees why you joined up with the Myriad. They like a peaceful drink, just like you. Says he sells them drinks. They mostly suck them down on their own. But who cares about them? Says you'd be as bummed out as him if you came for the hot stuff. The Glugmocker, Nimhimbibble, and his favourite radium syrup. That one's even more intoxicating now, aged in truck tankers and all. Without a drink, and radium syrup especially, he can't move, much less think, as the power of his mind is directly proportional to the quantity of syrup he swigs. That's why he's called Gulp. The drink helps him forget the state the world is in, but it only lasts until tomorrow. The world is still doomed, even if the sun goes up. Figures the real problem is finding something to drink. He wants you to know he has other interests too. He's the Surfipelago's self-proclaimed ornithologist, for example. There are other ways than a cold drink to relieve stress, even in these dark times, and, fortunately for you, he can help. Watching Pippi's flap is calming, but better yet are the ones you can look at and touch, like quacks. Squeezing them is a great way to relax. They're better at floating than flapping, so you should be able to net a few without growing yourself a pair of wings. Wonders why you haven't been to see Wiz, don't you? Has plenty to do, so no worries. The oil claimed this land a long time ago. Found some e-waste? Worthwhile.